for me, psychological safety is so that people, but more importantly, teams, feel as if they can take risks, can express ideas and concerns, that they can speak up when something has gone wrong and actually admit to mistakes, which for some is very hard. It's really, really important that we have an environment in the NHS that we can learn and improve, and that we reflect on what we've done well and when things have gone wrong, what have we learned from that so that we can do things better. That in itself will prevent and eliminate as much harm as possible. So the first thing we've had to do is to really describe, well, what is psychological safety? What does that mean for us as individuals? And importantly, what does that mean for us as a board? And then, therefore, how, as a board, how do we set the culture and the environment for our staff? We've then had to really describe this across the organisation with our managers, our divisional director teams, and really start to create conditions that our staff who are delivering services in the most challenging of times and in the most difficult of circumstances often really feel as if, they can raise suggestions and ideas, but actually when something does go wrong, they can actually go have a conversation and really be supported through the learning for that. And more importantly, how we can spread that learning so that more others can learn when things have gone wrong.
Thanks, Nick. So you touched on psychological safety as one of the key aspects there. So what does that sort of term mean to you and the board in Velindre, and how have you kind of explained that? Because it can feel quite a heavy term, can't it? It can feel like almost nebulous. So how have you kind of explained that to the teams?
Absolutely. And what we try and do is use examples very often. But for me, psychological safety is so that people, but more importantly, teams, feel as if they can take risks, can express ideas and concerns, that they can speak up when something has gone wrong and actually admit to mistakes, which for some is very hard, and actually do all of that without fear that there'll be consequences or negative consequences to that. And an example I will use is undertaking an investigation when something has gone wrong. Very often, I'm a nurse and by profession, and we want to do the best possible job all of the time. But sometimes, we make mistakes and errors occur, and through an investigation process, people may feel as if they're being blamed individually, and that the organisation is just looking to blame somebody rather to understand what's happened and actually how we learn from what went wrong and prevent that from happening again. So psychological safety is feeling that teams actually collectively are able to do that and are able to raise issues, suggestions, and have a conversation with a manager when something has gone wrong, and actually feel as if they aren't going to be individually blamed for that.
So you've talked about some of the teams that are involved in the Safe Care Collaborative. Can you give us some examples of what the teams have been involved in, what they've been up to, and how they've found the experience and what impact it's had with them?
So aside from the organisational work we do in around psychological safety, we've been running 4 other collaborative projects, 2 within Welsh Blood and 2 within the Cancer Service, Velindre Cancer Service. And the teams have really been working on areas that we identified were quality priorities for us. Yeah. So we identified that, things weren't as good as they could have been. And therefore, let's see what we can do to improve that. So I think that was the first thing, is allowing teams to really think about what will make the biggest difference to the quality of our organisation and the outcomes of our donors and our patients. So we identified the 4 areas from that, and then really supported our team to come up with, well, what are the things that we need to do that will make the difference, and not really dictate that to them. We've had improvement coaches working with the team, which is really, really important, because I think one of our biggest learning points is we haven't been very good with data. and with measures. So that's been, our learning point, I think, throughout this is, making sure we've got a clear baseline. What are we measuring against? So then we can see, well, are the interventions and the changes we're putting in place actually making a difference? The teams have struggled sometimes, if I'm being honest, with release and with time to do this, because it's, really busy. The NHS is, we've got staffing challenges, but actually all of the projects now are making, creating momentum, and we are starting to see some differences and some changes. So some of the examples of what we are doing, we had some challenges with our chemotherapy treatment helpline within the cancer service, and felt that we really needed to look at how we do things differently. So again, from no fault of individuals, it was the systems and processes from within which we were working, but also our patients have changed. The treatments we provided to patients have changed. They're far more complex. The side effects that people get are very different, and therefore we've needed to take forward a number of improvements to address that. And that's owned at a multi-professional level. And we have made a number of changes to that service already. And we're actually going to take that forward into next year as well, because we've got some further things to do. And I think with all 4 projects, they've gained momentum and have the enthusiasm of the team has grown throughout the time. And the other successful thing is to do this on a multi-professional basis. So it's really not just about one professional group. It's about how we really look at managers, nurses, doctors, therapists, scientists working together to try and change this.